Hi, you say you want to change something in your career, your role, your environment, your entire direction. You hear a new idea, a better way of doing things, and part of you lights up. It makes sense. It sounds really exciting. You're ready to try something different, but then it happens. You start to feel the hesitation. You feel awkward. You start to question it. You start to procrastinate. You talk yourself out of the whole thing. And before you know it, you're right back where you started. Well, here's why. You're trying to create a new future while still being the old you. You've been built like this over years through repetition, reaction and routine. Years of doing the same things, the same thoughts, responding the same way, until it's all become automated, embedded, programmed. And here's the thing that no one tells you: you can't keep creating a new future while holding on to the emotions of your past. And until you become someone new, your body will treat any change, even positive change, as a threat. If this is already making sense or making you feel a little uncomfortable, well, that's a good sign. So hit subscribe if you want more no fluff videos on real career change and not just surface level tips. Let me know in the comments what's the one change you know would make a real difference for you, if you follow through. I'd really love to hear it. You think you're just making a decision, a logical step forward. Maybe you've decided to update your CV, speak more confidently about your value, reach out to someone who could open a door, finally do something different in your career. But the moment you start, you feel it. Discomfort, doubt, resistance. It doesn't come from your thinking brain, it comes from your body. Your body has memorized the feelings of being who you are. The hesitation, the self-doubt, the stories that keep you safe. So when you try to act like someone who's confident, clear and in control, your body says, no, that's not us, and it pulls you right back to where you started. You start second guessing, you feel silly. You worry about what others think. You tell yourself it's not the right time or that you'll try again later. It feels like resistance, doesn't it? But it's really your programming doing its job, keeping you safe, keeping you the same. You show up in subtle, familiar ways, and it catches smart people out all the time. You want to write a stronger CV. You know you need to highlight your achievements, your value, your impact, but it feels uncomfortable, like you're bragging. So you play it down. You make it safe. You stay in the same version of you that doesn't stand out. Or you hear about a smarter way to approach job search, a strategy that means you bypass recruiters and connect directly with decision makers. You get excited, you even start to map it out, but then the doubt creeps in. What if they ignore me? What if I get it wrong? What if this just isn't me? And just like that, you go back to scrolling the job boards, applying for roles that don't excite you, hoping this time something sticks, knowing it won't. Or maybe you're not looking at all, but you're coasting. You know the job isn't right, you feel disconnected, maybe even drained a little. You talk about doing something different, starting a side project, building something of your own. But when it comes time to act, you freeze. That's not because you're weak or lazy, it's because everything inside you has been conditioned to stay the same, even when the same no longer fits. You might think staying where you are is the safe option. It's familiar. It doesn't rock the boat. But over time, staying the same comes at a cost. It costs you energy, showing up for work that no longer excites you. It costs you clarity, because the longer you stay stuck, the harder it becomes to imagine anything different. It costs you confidence every time you feel the spark to do more and ignore it. It costs you opportunity because the right chances rarely come to the version of you who's just getting by. And most of all, it costs you a future you haven't even allowed yourself to define yet. That's the biggest cost of all. Most people don't have a vision. They're not moving forward. They just keep going in circles. They get up, they go to work, they tick the boxes. Then they do it all again. It looks like life is fine, but it's not growth, it's repetition. You've been so shaped by what's already happened, you've forgotten you can build something entirely new. So here's the uncomfortable truth most people never hear. You've been programmed to stay exactly where you are. Not by someone, not by an external force, but by your own habits, your own stories, reinforced over years until staying the same becomes the default setting. And that's why new ideas feel exciting, but taking action feels exhausting. Why inspiration just fades. Why you get pulled back again and again into what's so familiar. Let's be clear, you will not change your career, your confidence or your future until you reprogram yourself to want something different. And that means seeing the truth, the cost of staying the same, the missed opportunities, the low-level frustration, the wasted time is all greater than the discomfort of change. Because here's what happens if you don't. You go in circles. You confuse motion for progress. You keep saying, maybe next year, until it's 5 years later and nothing's changed. So let me ask you, with total respect, when does it stop? When do you take control? You don't need to leap, but you do need to move. If this has changed something in you, if it's stirred up that small voice that's been trying to speak for a while, then maybe now's the time to listen. I'm here for a real conversation. No fluff, no pressure, just clarity and the start of something entirely different. If you're ready to explore what change could look like, the link is below, because the loop doesn't break on its own, you have to break it.